All right, everybody, we are back. Episode 11, the Illuvium Rundown. Thanks for joining us today. We got a great list of topics here. I'm just gonna jump right in. I think we just need to start off with a bang. So we're coming out hot here, guys. We got Illuvium versus the world, essentially, and really it's the world of Web3. But we just want to think about like the different projects and how Illuvium stacks up. So Nick, I'm really just gonna hand this off to you right away. What do you think about some of these other projects that are coming out on Web3 versus Illuvium?
Yeah, so I'll admit it, for a little while I thought no other game had a chance in the Web3 space. I thought Illuvium was just so far above the rest. And don't get me wrong, I still believe it's the top project. I'm not going to be jumping ship over to any other projects. But I've started diving a little deeper into some of these other projects and playing some of the games, and I'm not gonna lie, some of them are pretty fun right now.
Okay.
So I've been playing a little Undead Blocks. I used to play Call of Duty Zombies with some friends back in the day, so I wanted to give that a try.
Yep.
And it's a fun game. And I'm not even sure that I really care about the earning side of it or the NFT side of it. I think it's just fun to hop on every once in a while and go around and shoot some zombies.
Yeah.
So that, another game that I actually do have an NFT in is Spider Tanks from Gala Games. So I've been playing a little Spider Tanks. You go around shooting people. You get that competitive edge there. They actually are fully on the blockchain, but the earnings, there's nothing significant about the earnings. So again, I hop onto that and I just play a little bit for fun. That just leads me to like a little bit of a concern about Illuvium, is that these games right now, I'm having fun with them because there's the competitive side or even the cooperative side. Mm-hmm. Like, you can get friends to play with you in these games, and when you get to the Illuvium overworld, like, you're just going to be there on your own. It's going to be great once, we're on the blockchain, but I think they really need to get some more of a social aspect into that Illuvium overworld. But yeah, there's other games, even Heroes of Mavia. I actually recently bought a plot of land in. Mirandis from Gala Games. There is going to be some competition. I don't think we're going to go the next 2 or 3 years and it's just going to be Illuvium is so far above the rest. Mm-hmm. But the competition is good because no one's going to sit back and be like, oh, we're Illuvium, we're the best game, we're not going to try to get better. There's going to be competition out there and it's just going to push Illuvium further.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think there is an aspect of it where you want that social part, and, you want to play with your buddies. I get that. Just thinking about, like, where Illuvium came from with, like, Pokemon being the inspiration and all of the original Pokemons, they didn't really have that social aspect. You were just on a journey. Sure. I was in my car on a road trip, playing, like, 10 hours.
Times have changed, though.
Times have changed. So you're right about that. And I think they are going to implement that to an extent. I also think once, like, you see that you can catch, like, an atlas and it's on the blockchain, that's gonna be pretty exciting. So I think there are some, pros and cons there. So it's definitely some things to work out. But I wanted to take a minute to talk about Illuvium versus Star Atlas. And this is a topic that I covered when Kieran was debating with Wagner. And it was run by that clown KGJN, who, like... I've never really interacted with, but he was just kind of not the best moderator, I guess. But anyway, so that was a heated debate that they had. But Kieran brought up a lot of good points. Wagner brought up some good points as well. But honestly, you have these two games, right? Like Illuvium, Star Atlas, both building on Unreal Engine, both like trying to, build something legitimate. But the one difference was... with Star Atlas, they sold all their ships beforehand. So that's like if you sold all the Illuvials beforehand. That's a big hole, in my opinion.
I think they get too far ahead of themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody in the bull market, I'm sure they thought things were just going to go up forever as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, too far ahead of themselves on that.
Right. So I think that's going to be an issue. If you come in day one, like you're just curious about Star Atlas, and you see this like dude with like this monster like ship and this like army of other ships around it, like what are you supposed to do? So like that I haven't figured out yet. I don't think that's a good long-term plan. So I really, my view has not changed on Star Atlas. I'm not excited about it at all. I think their runway's dwindling, which right now Illuvium's is as well. But Star Atlas's solution is to sell more ships, which you can't do that forever. So.
And who knows? Maybe Star Atlas is a big player in the game, and it's competitive in 7 to 10 years from now.
Yeah.
But I'm not too concerned about the market share they're going to take away. I'm not really looking at them as much competition right now. Not for any time in the near future.
If we're going to get real, my thoughts on where they're headed is they're just going to run out of runway and the game's never going to launch. But
that would really be unfortunate.
I hope that's not the case. Yeah. I hope they can figure it out, but I just don't see how they're going to be successful. But yeah, Illuvium's got some competition for sure. But the next thing we wanted to talk about was Governance V2, and this is something that is really coming now. We have the governance proposal out from the team, and it's very interesting. A lot of good detail. I think we talked about this on other episodes. We're heading in the right direction with this. Yep. I think we need to expand the governance here, and let's jump in. Tell us what's going on there.
Yeah, so the one thing to keep in mind is that these epochs are 6 months long right now, right? So we're probably almost 2 months into the current epoch, and the next epoch is going to be this new governance V2, if not earlier. There was talk about they could end the current epoch earlier to have it. Or in about 4 months at max, we're going to be on this new model. So I just wanted to kind of break it down really quickly for anyone who hasn't looked too deep into this. And talk about more of the sub-councils. Because instead of having 5 people who are going to make up all decisions, there's going to be sub-councils for if a decision is made about marketing or the gameplay or strategy or anything like that. And then it's just the people within those sub-councils are going to be better off to make those decisions, if that makes sense. So just quickly, we have 4 sub-councils that there will be here, and I'll pull this up on the screen. There's going to be the marketing sub-council, and this will be one of the things that you need is to be an IOV holder.
Which I think that's important, right? You want to have some stake in the game. It makes sense, right?
Yeah, and I don't even know if there's a minimum. Maybe 1 ILV, whatever it is.
I think that is I think it's 1 ILV.
It's 1 ILV. But yeah, it gives them a little stake in the game. But yeah, so there's going to be 4 basically community people, ILV holders, and then 1 team member. So all of these sub-councils are going to have 5 people on it. There's going to be a game sub-council, again with 4 community people and 1 team member. A strategy council. Same thing, 4 community, 1 team member, and then there's going to be the community sub-council, which will be all 5 community members, and no one from the team, no lead from the team. Getting a little more in-depth on what these are. So the community sub-council is going to, their duties and responsibilities, assist the community in ideation, creation and formatting of IIPs, review and direct the IIPs, ICCPs to the relevant sub-councils. Let's see, responsible for ensuring understandability and availability to Illuvium's governance processes in consultation with the community. Kind of a mouthful.
Dude, I might put an IIP in to make these, just use, dumb it down a little bit for the regular folk, all right?
Yeah.
All right, guys?
Definitely. And if you're looking at this, I'll try to remember to link this proposal down below so you can look at it for yourself. But then we have the strategy sub-council, and it's to propose, ideate, revise, recommend, or reject all strategy-related IIPs, including but not limited to DeFi products, white space gaming opportunities, intergame economics, monetization, governance, all that kind of things. Then we have the game sub-council. Duties and responsibilities are to propose, ideate, revise, recommend, or reject gameplay-related proposals, and steer the game-related IIPs.
That'll be interesting. I think
it will be. This is one that I'm actually interested in myself.
Yeah.
Because it talks about the intra-game elements across the full site of Illuvium products, which includes balancing of the game, content ideas, the intra-game economics, and all gameplay decisions. And that intra-game economics is really, that's what I really like. That gets me excited.
I mean, half of your videos, I feel like, are about the economics of it all.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a video I just put out a couple days ago that just dives into the intra-game economics and how it relates from Illuvium 0 to the open world. I mean, I guess I can kind of make a little announcement right now that when voting does take place, or whenever we need nominees or whatever for this Governance V2, I think that's one that I'm gonna run on.
Boom! Breaking news.
There we go.
That's live breaking news. All right, so Nick over here, the game sub council. Vote for Nick. I could see Daraji being on that council too. He's always into the numbers.
Yeah,
so I could see him. I could see him getting on there. But it looks like there's going to be 4 ILV holders on that council.
Yep. 4 community and one team member.
Lead game designer. Yep. Maybe Roger's going to be heading that up. Who knows? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's cool to see you're working directly with the team in that capacity. So
and one of the reasons why I hadn't run up to this point is because I didn't feel like I could contribute enough to just everything as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
But when you break it down into these sub councils, I really think that this is an area that I can really help on. With my involvement in some other Web3 games, and just even before I knew what Web3 was, I always felt like the intra-game economics of a game always intrigued me.
Yep.
So look out for that in the future. I mean, I'll be making more announcements.
Dude, we'll have posters up. We'll have vote for Nick. Vote for Nick. Vote for
Najif. Yeah.
We'll figure that out. Do you want to go by Nick or Najif on the voting?
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Right. We will. But more about that in the future.
I'm the campaign manager.
Yeah. But just to round this all out, the last sub council would be the marketing sub council. They did be propose, ideate, revise, recommend, or reject. Some of this is hard to read here. Basically all the marketing related IIPs. Again, in IIP it's going to be directed towards one of these sub councils rather than everybody or the 5 council members all making a decision regardless of what.
Yeah, the marketing, it's like I see external partnerships there. So like, working with other Web3 entities and just like, just how they do it now where they give, 50 spots to Illuvidata or whatever to give out to the community, things like that. So they're going to do partnerships, guilds. I know you're a guild guy. Growing that way. So those kind of things for sure coming down for the marketing team.
Yeah, definitely. So I hope we didn't bore you too much with the governance V2, but I thought that was important.
We had breaking news.
Right.
So it couldn't have been too bad.
Yeah, but I think that's important just to have a little idea of how it's going to go and, how it's going to be different from what it currently is right now. It's a step in the right direction.
Definitely.
But let's move on. We just want to have a little segment here just to, talk about the game, the Illuvium Zero and the overworld, how things are going, and then we'll get into a call with Viper here. Another 2 weeks have gone by since we've talked about this. I know when I came and met you this morning, I saw your Illuvium Zero game already up.
Yep.
I know it's so easy to keep that up and running whenever I'm at my computer.
Yep.
Again, I can't wait till it's on a mobile device. But I mean, I'm having fun with it. I am getting to the point where I'm just like, I need it to get on the blockchain. Things are slowing down a little bit. But, I mean, how's it been going for you?
Yeah, so I'm, I look at, we're going to have Viper on here soon, but I look at guys who have maximized their land.
Yep.
I'm not at that point yet, but, my mind has been, how can I efficiently build out the land, which I think a lot of people are doing, in a way where I'm going to be ready for this blueprint hunt that's about to happen.
Yep.
And so I feel like I'm behind the game compared to a lot of people. I keep seeing on Twitter, and maybe they have a tier 3, tier 4. I don't know. I'm only on a tier 2.
It makes a difference.
But I feel like I'm so behind. And I'm like, I'm playing every day. I'm doing my best. But then I go on and I'm like, oh, this person has 7 blueprints. And it's like, how did you get 7 blueprints? And I'm like, I have one, I found one fact.
Yeah. I got my first blueprint 2 days ago, actually.
Okay. All right.
It took me a little while too.
So I'm still dialed in on that. I haven't really, I love the city builder game, so I'm still having a lot of fun with it. I have realized tier 1 is going to take forever to get to the bio data and the blueprint part.
Yeah.
So I'm like, dude, my strategy going in a tier 2 plot, 2 tier 1s, and to get as much blueprints as I can. I don't know if I'll be able to even get blueprints on the tier 1 by the end of it. But that's also the cheapest land, so maybe that should be.
It makes sense because now that I've been playing it and you kind of see how frequently or infrequently these blueprints are coming up, I'm leaning more towards they probably have it set up so if you have a tier 4, you'll probably be able to get all of the 15 blueprints in the alpha season. And I think it would scale down from there. I think if you have a T3, plot of land, maybe if you're lucky you get the 15, but you might end up with closer to that 10 or 12.
Yeah.
You have a tier 2, you might end up with 5 or 6. You have a tier 1, hopefully you're getting 2 or 3 of these blueprints. But it does kind of make sense that it would scale that way. But again, just like you were talking about, it's more of the learning process right now, especially with Illuvium 0. And since I'm getting close to maximizing and optimizing my land, I'm to the point where how much more can I do before it's on the blockchain? But I'm still cranking away every day. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of how it's been going. I haven't played the overworld a ton recently, which I also think has been pretty common amongst the community. But of course, once the NFTs come out, that's gonna be awesome. So that'll be completely different, and once it's on the blockchain, it completely changes everything.
Yeah, but it really is all about right now, just figuring out what you need to do so you can hit the ground running when open beta starts.
Yep, it's all
imagine
the prep work,
learning all of this when open beta starts. You'll put yourself weeks or even a month or two behind everybody else who's been, playing this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we are going to talk about this a little later in the episode, but we do have some private beta spots for anyone who's not in the game right now and wants to learn more. Yep. So stick around to the end of this video and we'll tell you how you can get some of those.
Absolutely. Can't wait to give those out. I know some people are frustrated. They're like knocking on the door trying to get access. So we got you covered. Yeah,
it really is important. I don't want to put down anyone who doesn't have access yet. But if you want to hit the ground running when this open beta comes out, you need to figure it out now.
Yeah.
Because there really is a lot to it. But all right, why don't we just get into our call with Viper?
Yeah, let's bring him on.
All right. Hey, Viper, welcome to the channel here. Glad to have you on. How's it going?
Well, it's going good. It's going good. I'm happy to be here. Happy to connect and you have me.
Yeah, definitely. It's always great having people on this channel here. So I just want to get right into it, and I want to ask you about Illuva data in your role over there. I recently saw Scrub-a-Dub Dad post something that you're consulting for them, or I actually don't know much about it. So if you can enlighten us, that would be amazing.
Yeah, of course. Now, I don't know how much detail I'm supposed to share or talk about, but the general the general gist of it is that I obviously used to be Hudson Pro by job. Essentially, a big part of that was obviously analyzing stats, essentially checking out what is doing well, what kind of decks and cards specifically are doing well versus whatever other specific things. So obviously, I'm in touch with a lot of stat analytics websites, especially trying to figure out who's giving me the best data, how are they representing it, and then also kind of figuring out, essentially how can I read it and what can I do with it and so on. The same thing in pretty much any other game I play. All the strategy games are incredibly very stats driven, so I'm pretty much very deep into using a lot of these websites on the more competitive end of the spectrum. So I'm going to try and help them to essentially get the best out of the website, try to figure out they have been, whatever Hudson website I was using, or TFT or League of Legends, they have been doing these things very well. Those things are lacking in the UI. That's what somebody that's more on the competitive end of the player base like me wants to see. Those are things that people have been missing, interpreting stats, because that's kind of the main thing in Hearthstone, where most of the websites were they were pretty much putting out raw data, and then they were putting out some kind of interpreted way, but it was usually not very well interpreted. And it kind of showed that there's some lack of knowledge, pretty much just statistical analysis missing, which I can give a little bit with my math background and things like that. So yeah, I just try to make it very beginner friendly to actually give people not only the raw stats, but a good way of showing it to them, explaining it to them, and then more intermediate and pro level, so that actually telling people, okay, this is how you can check things for yourself. This is how you can analyze the more niche parts of the game and of the meta, and just, pretty much maximize your knowledge about the game and maximize your preparation going into games, because Illuvium is going to be a deck building game. So you want to get as many advantages before the game even starts.
Yeah. So Illuvium, obviously, when you get into Web3 with Illuvium, there's the whole other dynamic of, putting money into the game. So is that something that you look at, or are you just strictly, what can I do to be the best? Or are you going to incorporate how much something might cost into getting to a certain level, or you just esports, how can I win no matter what the cost?
On the Luvidata guides, like beginner level kind of stuff, or more just like my personal, what I want to do, what I see it level?
I mean, just like you personally in the Illuvium space.
I don't really know. It's like kind of broad question. I think Illuvium, a lot of people have a very high expectation of costs and things like that. I feel like the way things currently look, barrier of entry is going to be one of the cheapest card games, especially that I've ever seen, because I think it's very comparable to a card game. I have to own my cards, I have to own my deck. It's like a Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, Pokemon kind of thing. Then in online card games, Hearthstone and all the other ones, you have to own your cards. And I think the way it currently looks in Illuvium and their goal, it's going to be a lot cheaper than most of those other decks, most of those other games, essentially. So that's pretty cool. I don't think you need to invest a whole lot of money in having a auto battle or competitive deck. I'm interested to see what other game modes they come up with, or what the community wants to do with maybe Leviathan, or things where you essentially need to have more than the like basic PvP game mode kind of stuff. But I think you don't really have to put too much money into it. I'm not really a big Web3 gamer, to be honest. I haven't really played Web3 games, so the whole idea of I get a few bucks back playing the game, it's not too interesting to me, because I don't think it's very sustainable models most of the time. And I think I'm also, and when people talk about like play to earn in this sense, I'm like, Web 2 is play to earn to a big amount, because you can boost other people's accounts, you can coach them, you can help them out in the game, you can sell in-game currency, you can do so much stuff that's been around for 20 years in World of Warcraft and RuneScape and in League of Legends. When I was a high school student, I was boosting people's accounts, and they gave me some money for it, right? It's not like that Web 2 is not play to earn in any kind of way, because a lot of things people are willing to spend money on. So that's more the angle that I think Illuvium will take, that it's not going to be the Ponzi nomics kind of game. I think it's more going to be close to essentially Web 2 dynamics of people just wanting to spend money on products that they like, and that the players actually get the kickback instead of the company, essentially.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's, I think, what most of us are hoping for, to get mainstream adoption.
Yeah. And so Viper, so I noticed you a few months ago, you started popping up on the auto battler leaderboards quite a bit. A lot of runs all the way to level 30, and I was like, how's this guy doing it? So I started following you a little bit then. And then I started watching your stuff with the overworld as well, and like you're flying all over the map. You're moving faster than anyone else I've seen. So like your skills carry it over there. And then I'm like, can he do it with Zero as well? And dude, your city building techniques are like off the charts. You're probably over a level 500 at this point in the city builder. So like, I'm just curious, like with Illuvium Zero specifically, like what's your strategy? How are you building up to those levels? Like it seems like you've got quite an operation going on over there.
Dude, I think Illuvium Zero is like the most simple out of all of the games, because I feel like the basic idea that I had going to Zero was like, okay, I'm time gated in a lot of ways, so let's just use that time always be building something, be doing something. Don't be locked out of not being able to keep doing, like, I don't know, utilizing the timer. And then there's the one thing that caps you, which is the fuel at the beginning. So that's kind of the idea of, okay, I need to wait on my 18 hours for the first fuel, then I can build all these other buildings. But pretty quickly after that, you realize, okay, it's just time that's gating you. It's not elements, it's not really fuel. You just, out of all the marketplace, there's no sink for the abundance of elements and fuel. So it's just keep building things at all the times. And the level thing I've noticed is essentially if you upgrade the element size that generate a lot of stuff, they give you incredibly amounts of level of experience. I think today I noticed that I upgraded the first extractor to level 9, and the first time I claimed the rewards of it, it made the level jump from 625 to 630. So it's like a 5-level increase with only one extractor on a daily basis claim. So yeah, that was really surprising.
Yeah, that's wild. Are you playing like a tier 3 plot or a tier 4 plot?
Yeah, the one I'm the highest level on is tier 3.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the one I'm the most advanced
Nick's got
on.
a tier 3. I have a tier 2. But that, yeah, I mean, every time I see on Twitter, because you're always posting some stuff with like Illuvium Zero, I'm always
Yeah,
looking at your city, and I'm like, man, I'm way behind. So, so I was just curious about that. And then also just in the overworld, like, Jim Barino did the Jim Barino jump, but it seems like you've mastered that. And your gameplay there, I don't know if you ever played Tony Hawk Pro Skater, but some of the best players of that game, they're flying all over the map, and that's what it reminded me of, because you're able to get from
that's
like the
really cool.
obelisk to like any part of the map in like a minute and a half.
Yeah,
I'm like, I'm trying to jump up these rocks one by one. It's just not happening. So kudos to you, man. I'm excited to have you working a little bit on my site as well, and hopefully
yeah.
get some
Happy
content out
to do
there.
that.
So good stuff there. And then one more question I had for you. So something I always like to ask all of our guests is just, how did you find Illuvium? Like, what drew you into Illuvium originally?
The first message I saw about Illuvium was a friend telling me, I make $2,000 a week in staking rewards, or I make $2,000 a week in this I don't know, investment that I made. Then told me more about it. It's like, oh, this game Illuvium, watch the trailer. And I was like, wait, it looks pretty cool. Tell me more about it, essentially. And then, I learned more about the game. And our friend was pretty much just, well, I see it as an investment. I just claim SILV and sell it, recoup the initial one. I was like, oh, I actually think this is a good long-term thing. I believe in this project long-term. So I kept looking at it, tried to get more involved with it as well by now as well. So that's kind of how I found out about it. I was getting into pretty much TradeFi, and because I wanted to learn about generally trading after kind of quitting. I was like, when I was transitioning out of doing esport things and content creation, I wanted to essentially just do trading, get into TradeFi, learn about that. And from that, I went, oh, well, let's learn about Bitcoin. Let's listen to Robert Benislov, Micah Saylor, the big people in that. And then talking crypto with other friends were like, okay, this is what I do. And this is how they told me, like, I do this crazy crypto investment thing that yields me a lot of money. Yeah, that's the whole story, I think.
Very cool. Well, honestly, like, from all the content I've seen and the gamers I've seen in the Illuvium space, I have you at the top of the list in terms of skills in the game. So, and it goes across the board from the auto battler to the overworld to zero. So, so great job, man. I'm excited for you, and it's going to be cool to watch you grow as kind of we all grow together with Illuvium. So appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. I very much think we are onto something big, and I'll love to see where this leads all of us.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll definitely be reaching out to you, probably have you on again sometime in the future. Definitely once open beta is out, and we really need to get good at the game if we want to make anything out of it. Yeah, I'll be watching your stuff. Thanks for coming on, and we will
to come on.
Catch you next time.
Yeah, see you soon.
Yeah,
all right.
See you, Viper.
Bye.
Awesome time having Viper on there. Viper, thanks for coming on, man. It was good to talk to you. You're so much better than me at all aspects of Illuvium. So very humbling when I see the stuff you're doing on Twitch.
Yeah, he's going to be a great person to be following if you want to actually get good at this game.
Exactly. It's unbelievable what he's able to do.
Yeah.
He really is. But moving on now. So we just talked about with Viper the 3 games that are out now.
Yeah.
But we also got to consider next games for Illuvium. And there's been some leaks a little bit here and there recently. Aaron has gone on a couple things. And he continues to talk about this card game that could be associated with potentially with Illuvatars.
Yep.
I think it's a great idea. I think, you think about Magic the Gathering or like even Pokemon cards or whatever. All those games had their place in those ecosystems. Yep. And in like the late 90s, early 2000s, they were actually huge. So I do think there is a place for a card game here. But there's also other games that are going to be coming. So like, what have you heard about like next game potential?
Yeah, well, so obviously we talked about this in an episode a while back, one of the earlier episodes, but they had a proposal for something called Illuvium Strike.
Yep.
So that was a first-person shooter. So I know that's something that they're talking about. We hear, Kieran every once in a while talk about a kart racing game.
Which I would love. I'd love that. I was always a huge Mario Kart guy. That was my game.
I think that would be great. But back to what Aaron was saying, I think that the card game for Illuvatars, he said, would be the next one that comes out, just because it's going to be the easiest one to build. Mm-hmm. So there's no timeline on that. They're definitely focused on getting the first 3 games perfect.
Yeah.
But I think that 4th game is going to be that card game.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, who knows after that? We get the first-person shooter. We get the cart game. They could go and do a platformer game, some turn-based strategy games. There's a game that I played for a little while before they actually shut the game down, was Pokemon Duel. And I think Illuvium would, like, if they put their IP into a Pokemon Duel type game, I think that'd be a great game. Great mobile game to add to the collection. To know what's going to come next. It's about the interoperable assets that they're always talking about.
Yep.
How can they move the land and the plants and the rocks and the alluvials to a new game, something that's already integrated. Like if you think about getting into a cart game, they need to make new carts for every alluvial. It's going to take a little bit more, even though a cart game seems like it'd be simple. It's going to take more time than even like a first-person shooter where they already have, Arlen out there, the Rangers out there that can shoot these guns. Mm-hmm. So that might be a simpler one to get out earlier. But yeah, there are so many possibilities. They've talked about having 9. I honestly don't know why they picked that number 9, because once they get to 9, I don't think they're going to stop.
No, yeah, they'll keep going. And the interoperability is everything. Like, they've talked about it before, how each alluvial is going to have, like, this number tied to them from the very beginning. And that number gives them different traits in different games.
Yep.
Even games that aren't even built, it's just going to be... They'll just have it in the code where it's going to be able to be carried on to each game. And you know what another game that I think... I've always liked, which would be great for mobile, is those tower defense games.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
they
a
have
big
talked
fan
about
of
that.
those.
I've heard that too.
So, like, I'm just thinking, like, you have a plot in Crimson Waste or whatever, and you start putting the alluvials down, like, maybe you have, like, a Ramphie shooting fire at whatever's going by. Like, I think that would be cool, and, like, using the Ramphie you caught in the overworld to then place it into the tower defense game. Mm-hmm. That kind of thing, like, excites me. Like, I do really like tower defense games, so I think that would be cool. Yeah. But then, like, you throw the same Ramphie in the kart racing game, you throw it in. Oh, so, like, the interoperability of it all. Yeah. It just, you think about, like, Super Mario Brothers, right? And you can't play Mario 64 and Mario Kart and have, like, the stuff that you've gotten in 64, the overworld, essentially, of Super Mario. You can't bring that into Mario Kart. So, yeah, that is going to be such a game changer in this space. And I think it's going to just, like, the other, like, traditional companies are going to have to catch up.
Yeah. What I'd really love to see is third-party gaming studios having a partnership with Illuvium to use their IPs, or to use their IP, to make more games. Like, a tower defense game doesn't have to be made by Illuvium. You could have another third-person studio come in, partner with Illuvium to make that game. And then you can really just expand things out, just like Pokemon. Like, every game that involves Pokemon is not made by the Pokemon company. Mm-hmm. They give out, or they have a partnership for their IP to be used with other companies. And that's how there's so many different Pokemon games out there.
That's a good point. And they just have to make it to, like, the specifications that Illuvium wants.
Yeah, exactly. But, they would come up with a partnership, an agreement, say, like, this is how we can incorporate the NFTs into your game. This is the standard that we want it at.
Yep.
This would be, the kind of split of revenue, whatever it is. But once you open it up like that, the possibilities are endless. You don't need to worry about the Illuvium team waiting for the 4th game and waiting for the 5th game. You could have multiple studios working on multiple games at the same time.
The collaboration is real. Yeah, work smarter, not harder. That's definitely true. That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that before.
Yeah. I actually did ask Kieran this in the interview I had with him a few months back, and he said it is possible. Mm-hmm. That's not something that's taken off the table.
Yeah,
if a studio comes to them with, like, a good proposal, that's something that they would consider.
Yeah. the possibilities really are endless. We're so early in the blockchain journey, not just the Illuvium journey, but just the Web3 blockchain journey. There's so much that we could never even imagine at this point that's going to happen.
Yeah, definitely. But we're gonna flow into this giveaway we have. So we have 10 spots to give out for the Illuvium private beta.
Yep.
I think a lot of you watching right now might already have spots, but there's definitely some of you who have, DM'd me to ask how you can get in. Mm-hmm. So here's your chance to get in. We want you to leave a comment down below on what new type of Illuvium game you want to see into this metaverse, and just, why. What game do you like in the Web 2 area that you think would be great with Illuvium? So I think how we'll do this is the first 5 comments like this will get a spot, and then after that we'll choose the best 5 after that, because I know this is going to be launched and people are going to be sleeping, so I don't want to just do the first 10. Mm-hmm. But one of us will respond to your comment in the YouTube video, and we'll tell you to DM us on Twitter or Discord or something like that. But yeah, so there's 10 opportunities for you guys to get into the open beta here. But just kind of going along with this and what we were just talking about, if I were to have like a stretch, like this is what I really want for Illuvium, it would be a game like Super Smash Bros. Before I got into Web3, Super Smash Bros. Was my favorite game ever. Yep. And I can see it would be tough to have 150 or 200, 300 different Illuvials doing.
Well, Super Smash Bros. They don't have every character, and, they pick and choose. So that would be how it would be.
Yeah, so that's why I don't think it's a realistic thing right now. Yeah. But I think a game like that could happen in the future, and it would just be so much fun.
And actually, the adventure kind of part of Super Smash, where you can go through the waves.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where you can incorporate more of the Illuvials, where you get like a wave of like Atlas all coming at you, or something. Who knows? Like, I like how they did that too in Super Smash. So I hadn't even thought about Super Smash for an Illuvium related game. But
and the other thing that I was thinking that would make it a little easier is that if you've played some of the previous games, they have the Pokemon Trainer, where you can actually switch between like 3 different Pokemon, and it counts as one character. But also, all of these Illuvials, at least up to this point, I know there's one mythical Illuvial that we're going to have to figure out what's going on with that. Mm-hmm. But they all have 3 stages. So you could just have one character for all 3 stages.
Oh, yeah.
The
evolve.
So whether you own the NFT of a Ramfi, a Ramfight, or what's the middle one? What's the second? Okay, Ramfight or a Ramfire, then you'll be able to use this one character. So that cuts it down by 2/3, so that might make things a little easier. But I think that's just a top game out there. It should be incorporated somehow at some point.
Yeah, there's so many options there. Like
there really is.
Like I said before, but the possibilities are endless. And then just going on with the private beta giveaways, we want you guys to be in the overworld and in the auto battler and participating. I also have a few to give away just on my website. If you poke around through some of the articles, you might find the instructions on how to get those. So definitely pop over there as well if you don't get picked from the comments.
Yeah, if you're a little late watching this, there's all of these videos have the ramfire.io link down below. So go check out some of that and more opportunities to get into that overworld.
Yeah. I mean, I see on Discord probably once a week someone complaining that they still don't have access.
I know.
So we just need to get it. We need to get the people in. So that's what we're trying to do here. We talk to the powers that be, and we're doing our best.
Yeah, definitely. So that should be good. I'm glad we're able to do this for the community here. Yeah. But we have one more segment. I am going to let you start this one off.
Let's go.
We didn't get the horn yet.
We still don't have a horn, but I think my excitement says it all. So we're at the leak of the week. This is always my favorite segment. Rolls right off the tongue. This is where we just jump in and we just talk about our favorite leaks of the week. Yeah. And, I don't know if people realize the importance of leaks. Coming from the 2021 NFT cycle and not seeing leaks from teams and then finding Illuvium and seeing all the leaks, a lot of those projects that didn't have leaks are no longer here. They got rug pulled.
Yeah, it's not just promises. There's
dude,
real things out there.
You need to see the tangible asset that you're investing in, and there's no better place to do that than Illuvium. So shout out to the team just for always providing leaks and always giving us, there's no doubt. Like I have so much confidence because I see these leaks every week. So we like to provide them to you. Yeah. I'm always excited about it. I'm going to jump into mine. So what I have this week is updated Illuvials. And I don't mean like they've switched the names or anything. I'm talking about like the artwork on the Illuvials, which I personally didn't think it could get any better.
That's what I was just about to say. Like, you see what they already have, and you're just like, wow, they got even better.
But yeah, so Grant continues to prove me wrong. He has a psychotic level that he wants to get these up to, which is just like past anything I can fathom. So that's where we're at, I think, at this point, unless he once again updates them. I don't know how he can go up from here, but I said that with the last update. So anyways, update Illuvials. What we're going to be showing here, we have a Goliath, which is looking very clean, shiny.
Yeah. And one thing that I heard Grant talk about with these is just like, there are some other games that are made, not to the level that Grant wants it, where, say, a character might like turn to its left and its chin might go through its shoulder or something like that.
Yeah.
But he wants to eliminate that. He wants it to look as smooth as possible.
Movie theater quality.
Yeah,
is what I've heard a lot.
And these show that they're really putting in some effort.
Yeah. So we got the Goliath, and then another great one was a door, and it like you pull that up, the zoom in on the face, like dude, it's like flawless. And then there's Kuka as well, which we have here. And then I also tweeted recently about another one, Kukalus, which like I zoomed in on the different parts, like the feet, the feathers, the hair. Like, dude, you just like, I don't know how you can make things that legitimate. Because like I feel like I bash on like the codas of the Bored Apes and the Other Side Land. Yeah. But if you zoom in on the codas, they're like, it gets blurry a lot of the time. Like they don't have the quality yet. And I'm sure they'll get there. They're obviously a huge project and very successful, but like that's what I've come to expect, and I only expect that because of what I've seen from Illuvium. Yeah. So yeah, those are my leaks.
Surely, all right. So my leak here, I actually have a video, so I'll put this up on the screen. But this is, I believe this is Flumis. Is that right? This this water character here.
Yep, I think you're right. I think he turns into like Mac Geyser or something.
Yeah. It's crazy.
We haven't really seen this Illuvial in the wild or anything yet, so it's still newer.
And that's what's exciting, is like we still have more coming, even in the private beta.
Yep.
But just the animation here, that it just spits up this water that covers the entire board.
Yeah.
It's just, these Illuvial battles are going to be so chaotic. They're already chaotic and hard to follow, but you're going to have, it's just going to be like an explosion of color and animations. It's going to be something to watch. Like, you'll have Flumis throwing this water across the whole board. You'll have Ramfire jumping up and putting down its flames. When you get into a battle and you have 8 Illuvials on each side of the board,
and then Sephoris comes in with the purple, like, boom,
it's just going to be like
Alfie shooting you. Like,
it's going to be fun to watch. Like, this isn't just that auto battler where you're going to set your characters down and then you're going to click play and you're going to like go to the fridge to grab a snack or something.
Right.
No, you're going to want to watch this.
No, absolutely.
It's entertainment. I can't wait until I have a better idea of how to control the cameras.
Yep.
And I'll definitely incorporate some of my battles into some YouTube videos in the future. But it's exciting to see what they're doing.
Absolutely. Dude, the PvP element is going to be wild. Like, I can't wait to watch Viper. The dude is like, he was hitting 30 on the auto battler consistently. Like, he knows how to play the game. But like, once we're in the esports tournament and, you got the bracket and you're going through, to see guys like Viper and how they're going to set up their board, it's just going to be chaos.
Can you see stadiums of people watching these battles?
Virtual stadiums on our Tier 5 land that we don't own, That's what's going to be happening. Yeah,
that'll be fun. But yeah, I mean, that concludes today's episode. Like, we always have fun doing this. We're going to keep it going. Every 2 weeks we're here, and we're always going to have a new guest on each time.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe to this guy. Come check me out, ramfire.io, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Have a good one.